In this video, we are going to be going over Inpainting, and basically what Inpainting is it'll allow us to load in an image and paint over a chunk of it. Like in this one, we're loading in this image of a blonde woman, painting over the little chunk right on top of her head, and we are adding a crown in. And I am doing this on just a 16 gigabyte Macintosh, so it'll run on just about any system. And you can use it with just about any checkpoint you want. So it's a really cool thing to be able to add into your workflows as you're experimenting with ComfyUI. So let's dive right in and see how it works and why it works and how we can do it in ComfyUI. To understand what I mean when I say we're going to be modifying the latent image with Inpainting, it really helps to see how latent space works within a standard image generation. So here we're just generating a jar of strawberries, and the first thing I did is I output the latent image to a VAE decoder, and it gives us this image, which is just empty latent space, and it comes out as like a flat beigeish gray color. And it's important to realize this is not latent space. This has been plugged through a VAE decoder, so it'll be human visible. But latent space is just a bunch of vectors that look like this when there's nothing in it. And then it goes into this custom KSampler, which is just a subgraph I made to pull out a few of the partially generated images as we're generating the jar of strawberries. And this is just one step. So with one step, we can see it's pulling the latent image, it's starting to make our image. At 5 steps, it's starting to look a lot more like a blurry jar of strawberries. 10 steps, it's starting to look a lot more like a jar of strawberries. Like that is almost a good image, but it's very blurry, clearly AI generated. And then we have our final image, which just looks like a really good jar of strawberries. So basically, the AI is pulling around these vectors and twisting them to look like the image we want, based on the clip text encoder. It never actually gets to see the image. It just sees the latent space that makes up the image. But now let's suppose we want to modify that image and we want to add an orange. Then what we would do is we would inpaint over a section, and then now when we encode it for inpainting, it's only going to generate that latent space over the spot we inpainted. And mind you, we're not going to do this exact same workflow. I have again our custom KSampler, which is just a subgraph. And we're not going to go over subgraphs in this video. We're just going to go over the most basic inpainting setup. But I did that so that you can now see when it goes to change this to an orange based on our clip text encoder, it's going to start modifying this area. And at first, it's just kind of grabbing the information from what's around it and saying, okay, this is kind of what should be going here. And then a few more sets in, it is going to start actually making the orange. And by the end of it, it makes a very nice little orange placed near our jar of strawberries. So what we are going to do is we're going to learn to make a workflow that will let us inpaint only a section and change how we're putting the latent image so we can change any one section of our image that we want. So let's hop straight into making this inpainting workflow, and we're going to make it from the default workflow that comes in ComfyUI. If you've been following along on the tutorials or you've used ComfyUI, you're going to be very familiar with this workflow. I am, however, going to change to Juggernaut-XL, which isn't necessarily a model I would recommend for inpainting. There are some inpainting specific models, but I do want to show you guys that even a standard model like Juggernaut will work. However, some like dreamshaper 8, they're not going to work as good. So I would recommend getting an inpainting specific model if you're going to be doing this. But any model is good to start hopping in and trying out the workflow. And I'm also going to change a couple of the settings over here. I'm going to change this to 2S Ancestral and Keras. I do not necessarily recommend these for the workflow. However, I've seen they work pretty good with Juggernaut-XL. And I'm also going to change that to Fix just because we are doing a tutorial. The next thing is we can actually get rid of this empty latent image because we are going to be loading in an image. So I'm going to go to Image, Load Image. And this one should work fine, blonde woman. And we are going to want to make a mask on this and then apply it using latent, inpaint, and VAE encode for Inpainting. And you do see it has to connect to the VAE because we're encoding this into a latent. And then we're going to grab the image here and the mask, but it doesn't have a mask yet. So to add the mask, we're going to click on the node and then come right here. And I feel like I want her to have glasses. So I'm going to decrease the thickness and kind of outline where you want the glasses to go. And if you outline a little bit more specific, it will tend to give better results. So it is worth taking a time making sure you're inpainting the right spot. And then you're going to want to put a prompt that explains what you want to see in the image. So I'm just going to put a woman wearing glasses. And then we can run just like we would a normal generation and see what we get. And we can see it added the glasses on her, and now she's wearing glasses. And of course it did change some of what's going on inside of her eyes, but that's to be expected because the AI did not have information on what her eyes looked like. And once again, certain models will work better than others, so if you're doing this on something really big like Qwen or Flux, you're going to get better results. But once again, this is SDXL running on a tiny like Mac Mini. So it's really cool that we can totally modify images locally in ComfyUI using this system. And all you got to do is load the image in, put it through VAE encode for Inpainting, plug that into your latent image, and then generate just like you would, making sure that you explain what you want in your clip. Don't start trying to put like background, like we don't need to let the AI know she's in an office or anything. But that's pretty much all there is to Inpainting. However, I do want to show you guys one more thing that might cause an issue for you. So if you get an image off the internet, or maybe you took a picture with a telephone and now you want to do some inpainting on it, you may notice that it is too big. For example, this image that we got from a public domain source is 4,000 by 6,000 pixels, and that's just too big for my small system. And for SDXL, it's not going to work very well. So to fix that, I'm going to come over to Image, Upscaling, Image Scale to Total Pixels, and I'm going to scale it to 1 megapixel. So that's equivalent to 1024 by 1024. But not necessarily in that order. It will maintain the proportions of the image. And then I am going to really quickly inpaint something on this image. And then I'm going to change that to a crochet smiley face. And then I'm going to run it just like we did before. And keep in mind, SDXL isn't really made for modifications like this. This would probably be a lot better with something like Qwen or a slightly better model. Even Flux would work great. But I'm just using this to show how we would modify an image that's a lot bigger than something we would normally work with. And as we can see, it was actually kind of able to generate the smiley face. And again, this is a really small model, so we aren't expecting the most out of it. It's not really trained on crochet images, but it did a pretty good job just kind of getting context from the image and making something that kind of looks like it could go there. So using this image scale to total pixels node, you will always be able to modify images regardless of their size or where you got them from. And Nearest Exact Works Lancos is also a great option, but for a simple case like this where we're just downscaling a lot from a higher image, it doesn't really make such a difference. Then the last thing I want to show you guys is how I got the little image of what our inpainting looked like. And to do that, I would just come over here to Add Node, Latent, VAE decode, and then we're going to decode directly from this VAE encode, connect the VAE over here, and then we can just add a little preview image node, connect that and move it down, and then let's run it. And we can see it generated just the inpainting of the image. So we can see there, the section that I inpainted got a little bit bigger, And this is because of the grow mask by. It increased it about 6 pixels. And also this is a great way to debug. You can see here that I actually made a little bit of a mistake in my inpainting and left a certain piece of it not inpainted inside. So that'll definitely mess up your generation if it happens. So this is a great node to add during your workflow just to make sure everything is inpainted correctly. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you guys. Just a really quick video on how we can add inpainting to a workflow. And again, this will run on just about any model, and if a model is able to run on your system, you will be able to use inpainting on it, even if you're running on a potato like I am. I will link Juggernaut-XL in the description, and I will also put dreamshaper 8 inpainting in the description, because that is more of an inpainting specific model. But if you aren't sure if a model can inpaint, I highly recommend just plug in the right nodes, connect it up, and test it. Because I've seen so many forums where people are confused, especially with like an illustrious model. Can I inpaint on this? A lot of times the answer is yes. You will almost always be able to use inpainting. Sometimes it'll come out better, sometimes it'll come out worse. But just test it out on the model and you may be surprised by how good it comes out. In our next video, I'll be going over outpainting, which is another concept really similar to inpainting. Basically what that is we're just going to take an image, zoom out a little bit, or out is the other way, zoom out a little bit, and then we're going to see what's around the image. So that should be a lot of fun. And then I will be going over how we can get consistent characters with Instant X, Reactor, and a few other systems. That way we can either generate a character that we want, or even face swap our character into a different situation. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting into that with you guys. And thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.